Hello, everybody. This is the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast. As always, in the beast, alongside with me, my co-host or colleague, I should say, the DVD freak. How the hell are you, man?
I am tired, but you know what? I like this pay-per-view a little more than most people do. And it's always a privilege to go back and review this, mainly because the DVD collector I am. This to me, and a lot of people would agree, this is the rarest WWE pay-per-view DVD of all time. And the
Yeah.
reason is because they had distribution problems because of the name change. So this, along with Vengeance, were sold exclusively on Shop Zone. So it's hard to get in the U.S., but anywhere else it was perfectly fine. So if you find like a Canadian or UK, Australian, those are not the pricey ones. You know, that's a common misconception. I see way too many people come to me and say, "Look, I got this for $100, and it has the Canadian sticker on it." I'm like, "Ooh." But you know, um, it's like I said, it's always fun to go back and look at this one.
And for some of you guys who probably don't know what the hell we're talking about, today we are reviewing Judgment Day 2002. Very nice cover here. And as you can see, the differences here, he has the American case, as I have the UK case. As you can see, the number 18 there. And something different is they have the 2002 year under my case, which they didn't show in the United States version, which maybe they cut off. Maybe there was a typo. Maybe it was just like, hey, let's be different. But this pay per view took place Sunday, May 19th. Oh, shit. No wonder why Kane wasn't at this pay per view. May 19th, 2002, in Gaylord, at the Gaylord Entertainment Center in Nashville, Tennessee, with the attendance of 14,521 fans. Now, yeah, obviously Kane wasn't at this event because he was still recovering from an injury. Um, and this was immediately right after the Insurrection pay per view, probably like a week or so after the Insurrection pay per view, and we're a month away from the Backlash pay per view, in which we saw Hogan defeat Triple H for the undisputed WWE Championship. And this was also around the time Undertaker had defeated Steve Austin to become the number one contender to face Hogan for the championship. And this was also the first pay per view ever held under the WWE name instead of the WWF. So this was I guess you would say, the beginning of the WWE era. And something that I did like about this pay per view, I did love the opening package. The opening video package was somewhat similar to 2 years prior at Judgment Day 2000 when they showed The Undertaker when he had returned as the American Badass. Obviously, this is a whole new era. Undertaker got a haircut. He's no longer a badass. He's big evil. And he was one of the hottest heels at this time, along with Triple H. But that wouldn't be till the summer when he would feud with the returning Shawn Michaels. And the thing with this pay per view, I liked. I mean, they didn't really hype it as like one main event. It was more like a triple main event, sort of say, because obviously you had Undertaker and Hulk Hogan for the championship, which, I mean, I can't say it was the best main event, but it was kind of past its limelight. As you can see, this main event could have took place and got over 10 years ago, if you guys don't recall, 1991 Survivor Series, where Undertaker defeated Hogan for the WWE Championship. But yeah, I think this was way past its limelight. Obviously they were just trying to get Hogan over because it was like, hey, this was Vince saying, let's go back to square one because we're all out of ideas. Let's go back to 1984 to the Rock of Wrestling with Hulk Hogan. What you gonna do, brother? Take your vitamins and say your prayers. even though it wasn't Vince McMahon's project, it was more of Vern Gagne's project in the AWA. Fun fact there. And Vince, I guess, was just all out of ideas by this point, and he was all like, "Well, Hogan's back. I finally have him on good terms. Let's throw the title on him. Let's get him over again." And another fun fact here is the theme song for this event was by 12 Stones. I believe the song was called "Broken," and 12 Stones is also known for making the Nexus theme.
Yep.
So I did enjoy these themes back in the day. I thought they were more showed a lot more. Well, I guess you could say they're more classic nowadays. Going back to these pay-per-views, you had guys like 12 Stones, you had Drowning Pool, Saliva, Gavin from the band Bush when they did the what was the song, Adrenaline, off the Triple X album, which I did enjoy that. Oh my God, hearing it live, it's better off a studio song rather than a live performance song, sort of day.
And you can't forget WWE's favorite band, Limp Bizkit.
Oh boy, you know what? I think this was like right around the time I think WWE was trying to move away from Limp Bizkit, even though Limp Bizkit did perform at WrestleMania 19 for the Undertaker's entrance. But after that was the last time that was.
They also had Crack Addict as the main theme for WrestleMania that year,
right?
And they performed that one as well.
I know they had Crack Addict for WrestleMania 19, and I believe they had Build a Bridge for Survivor Series 03. And that was practically the last time we heard of WWE's favorite band. As God forbid, WWE's favorite band is probably CFO. But anyway,
do you remember when?
Do
you remember when? I can't remember what year this is. What's the lead singer's name of Limp Bizkit? I can't remember for the life of me.
Fred Durst.
Fred Durst, yeah. You remember when he flipped off the camera when they were? I forget what year that was. They're like, "Oh, it's Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit, yay!" And he's just like, "Yeah." And then they kicked him out.
Oh my gosh, I don't even recall that, but I know WWE was so big on Limp Bizkit back in the day. They actually put Fred Durst in the SmackDown Just Bring It video game. Back when they launched the first PS2 video game for WWE games. I mean, I wasn't big on it. I mean, that was a lame secret character to unlock. I mean, I enjoyed unlocking like Shane McMahon and Jerry Lynn. God forbid you ever hear Jerry Lynn in a WWE game. Ooh. But like Rhino to Jerry. But oh my gosh, that was like, those were games back in the day. Back when it was worth playing. Back when it was worth unlocking characters. When nowadays
you have to buy them.
You have all these. You have to buy them nowadays or go through the career mode, which is like so lazy, so fucking lazy. And that's one rant.
It's all about the money. That's all it is.
Yep, here comes the money, right, Shane? All right. So we go on to the first match here, and we have the opening Intercontinental Championship match, third pay-per-view in a row for Eddie Guerrero and Rob Van Dam.
Look, I'm getting kind of sick of this match. I really am. Like 3 in a row, that's a little upset. Like to have a match appear 3 times in a row on a pay-per-view or a series of pay-per-views, it has to have a lot of heat and a lot of crowd involvement. And this didn't warrant a trilogy. It just really didn't.
Right.
I'm sick of this. They're great talents. They have somewhat good chemistry. They have good matches. It's just like it's kind of the same thing over and over again, though, even with the finish half the time. Like,
right. I mean, it definitely wasn't a bad match. It was a solid opener. One thing that really baffled me is when RVD tries to go for a spin kick, and it looked like it connected with Eddie, but then Eddie just grabs him in a backslide and then wins with a backslide. And I'm just like, Like, did that not hurt? Like, weren't you supposed to sell that? Like, ooh, my face, but it's like, haha, got you in a backslide. And I'm not sure if you noticed this, but from what I saw, I could have sworn I seen Edge's mom in the audience. Maybe that's me.
I also thought I saw Pete Gas at one point. I might be wrong, but I mean, it would make sense. He had a marquee match. This was one of his. This was probably his biggest singles match at this point with Kurt Angle. The hair versus hair, and yeah, I don't recall seeing her, but in Nashville, Tennessee, it's kind of an odd place to see her. I would figure in Canada or.
Right.
But
I could have sworn I saw her, and I'm just like, is that Edge's mom? And I'm just like, well, maybe I'm mistaken. But and the thing about this match, this sequence just seemed a lot like Backlash in a way.
yeah,
Because the way I see it, you had, I believe it was Eddie who missed the frog splash, or it was RVD who missed the frog splash, and they basically just moved out the way. And it was just kind of like, really? Yeah, it was RVD that still missed the 5-star frog splash, but it was like, it's like so reminiscent of, sequences that happen at the Backlash event. I mean, don't get me wrong. This match was still okay, but I mean, there were just some tactics in the match that were just like, that was easy to call. It was so predictable. But other than that, Eddie Guerrero retains the Intercontinental Championship. And one thing I like to point out is the attire. I love Eddie's attire in this match just because it just resembles the colors of the Intercontinental Championship. I was like, that's a cool fucking attire. I don't know about you, but
yeah.
I always point out like, and don't get me wrong. So Eddie wins this match, and this was almost an 11-minute match. I think these two guys that are really good didn't seem to have a great match. I would say their Backlash encounter was better, but this wasn't bad. So
I think the only thing this match did was add to Eddie's character because he won dirty, he had his feet on the ropes and everything, and so I mean that came out of it, but at the same time, it's just I'm over it. I was over it after Insurrection, but I do have to ask you one thing. The entire time they were asking who has the better frog splash, so I will ask you. Who has the better frog splash? I say RVD. I'm sorry. I do.
And back at that time, elevation-wise, I would say Van Dam. But when it comes to form, I want to say Guerrero. Because nowadays, you don't really see people tuck their knees into their chest and then just go all out. You don't really see that nowadays. All you see is just like their arms going like this. You never see them put their hands together when they go for a frog splash. Nobody did it better than Eddie. So I would have to say Guerrero. But when it comes to elevation, selling the frog splash where it looks like, oh God, you look like you hurt yourself from like a big belly flopping. He must have practiced that a lot as a kid. So but I'm still gonna have to give it to Guerrero.
Eddie, like you said, it's more to form, whereas RVD, I like how he just kind of leaps off and just says, fuck it, and he just flops off. He'll fucking hop in the air like he's selling a stunner. Like, I love it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I'd rather watch RVD do it any day. But like you said, Eddie has more of a classic frog splash. So, yeah, I agree with you on that. But I think I'd rather watch RVD's.
And, originally the frog splash wasn't even Eddie Guerrero's finisher. If you guys recall back in the day, he was in a tag team with Art Barr, and Art Barr was actually known for doing the frog splash. After Art Barr passed away, that's when Eddie started to pay homage and do the frog splash himself.
And now everyone does it for Eddie. So you even got Dominic out there doing it. His legitimate father is Eddie. We all know that. But
he's the one who gave him Twizzlers. So you know what?
Yeah,
that's a good father.
Just because Ray won Ray won custody, don't mean shit.
Right. he's too tall to be Ray's son, so I'm not sure where the hell he got that from.
Yeah, really. Yeah,
but
but Angie is also like 6.5 feet tall. So
well,
realistically, she's probably like 5'10", but beside Ray, like anyone looks tall. Even I look tall and beside Ray.
right. Well, you know what? I actually have a picture with Rey Mysterio on my Facebook page, and we're actually the same height. So it's kind of like, yeah,
You're
you
only
know,
5'6".
no, I can't be 5'6". I have to be at least like he looked like he was the same height as me. I'm about like 5'9", 5'10". But when he stood next to me for the picture, I'm not sure. Maybe it was because of the way he was tilt, but he looked about the same height as me. But I'm pretty sure I'm a little bit taller than him. I'm
Yeah,
definitely not 5'6". I'm definitely like 5'9", 5'10".
yeah, because he's billed as 5'6".
I mean, maybe JJ, but as of me, no. And I know JJ's short. I think he's the shortest out of all of us.
Yeah, I'm like 5'10" ish, somewhere around there.
But let's get on to the first segment here. We have Devon, Stacy Keebler, and Deacon Batista in his first pay-per-view appearance
Yep.
are backstage with Vince McMahon praying for Stacy's safety, I guess you would say. And while they pray, Vince checks out Stacy. You know,
I love Vince.
for for the failure that was the Reverend character, I think Devon pulled it well.
Yeah, and the whole Batista thing, I love the gimmick of him going around like that, like with the box and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's odd to have Batista, who is Leviathan, down in
Yeah.
AEW or yeah AEW OVW, and then you just kind of like that. You just throw him with Devon. No acknowledgement of Leviathan or anything like that. Just dropping that completely. So it was odd. I don't think it fit Batista, but Batista always said he learned a lot from Devon, so he doesn't regret this position. And it didn't really last that long anyway, because we would see evolution form.
Right. But going on to the next match here, we had the WWE Women's Championship match with Trish Stratus taking on Stacy Keibler. And obviously, before the match started, we had Reverend Devon come out to accompany Stacy in his corner. So, that little trio that we had at WrestleMania 18 between Bubba, Devon, and Stacy. Obviously, there's still some connections with Devon and Stacy, but here we are breaking the fourth wall, where it's like, all right, this is supposed to be a brand split, and you have a Raw guy. Well, which what? Well, oh wait, you know what? Yeah, because Trish was the women's champion. So okay, so she was defending that on both shows. All right, that makes sense. So, but you still had a Raw guy and a SmackDown guy on two separate corners, and it's like, oh, here we go again. But you know, obviously, Bubba Ray was aiding for Trish Stratus, and this was a very short match. This was a nothing match that was really only used to promote the reunion of the Dudleys, I would say, because I think WWE at this point were kind of like, damn, we fucked up. Like, why did we ever think about splitting the Dudleys? And
Yeah.
we also seen a little bit of attitude in here, as well as this was again the time where WWE was shifting towards a new direction. Less attitude. They got the F out, brought the E in, or at least slid the E, because it was known as World Wrestling Federation Entertainment. And they were just like, get the F out. Like, fuck you. Get the F out. And, we would see like Batista basically body slam Trish, in which she kicked out at 2. She's a tough son of a bitch, huh? Kicking out of Batista's scoop slam. But yeah, I mean, this match wasn't wasn't even special at all. I mean, you seen Stacy throw some tantrums, hitting some spinning wheel kicks. But other than that, she was just known for having nice legs. So she had to show them off somehow.
I don't really like tall girls, so no comment.
Uh, well, I'll tell you what, I think she throws a better spin kick than X-Pac, but that's just me. Um, so, you know, Devion, after this match, he basically nails Bubba Ray, but then he kind of feels somewhat of like remorse, I guess you would say, because it's like, oh shit, I just nailed my own brother, the guy I've held multiple tag team titles with, and here I am fighting with him. Moral to the story: brothers fight. You know, and that's basically a lie, though, as he and Batista end up putting Bubba Ray through a table. Ironically, Batista would beat these two Dudleys to win his first piece of WWE gold. Armageddon 2003, we would see Batista, Ric Flair defeat the Dudley Boys for the World Tag Team titles. So the fact that there was no backstory later on to it, like, oh, Batista used to manage Devon, and it's like, okay.
Well, continuity doesn't really exist in the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Right.
So they have chosen continuity. It's like I said, they've never even mentioned Leviathan. A lot of the times you don't have OVW characters being mentioned. It's like the prototype of John Cena. I would kill to see a prototype John Cena promo in the WWE, but it's just, they're very selective with what they remember.
And go on to the next segment here, which kind of baffles me, as you have Vince McMahon enter Ric Flair's office, and all of a sudden, because they're heels, now all of a sudden they're best friends. Like, you guys weren't just feuding at the end of 2001 going into the Royal Rumble.
Just beat the fuck out of each other at the Rumble, but hey, let's be friends.
Yeah, like let's be friends. You guys are co-owners of two different brands, and now all of a sudden, just because you guys are heel and have the untrustworthy opinions about Steve Austin, it's like, hey, we have something in common now. Hey, pal, let's shake hands and go on airplanes with just our robes on, like. But that's from a different story. But coming up next, we have a tag team match. That's right, I said tag team match between. I mean, this is practically more of a handicap match, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But you have the Hardy Boys taking on Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Well, it should have been the other way around, but obviously Brock didn't need no assistance in this match, but this was such a quick match, and Heyman gets the pinfall over Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Brock does all the work, and then Heyman, of course, comes in, takes all the credit. But can we talk about Brock Lesnar's possibly one of the worst themes of all time?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This was such a generic, big meathead theme where it's like, oh, I'm Brock Lesnar. Like,
I think Mark Jindrak had a better theme than this. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really depends on which era of Mark Jindrak you're talking about. I mean, you had he had like a tag team run with Garrison Cade. Then he would get drafted to SmackDown as this narcissist Lex Luger ripoff as the Reflection of Perfection. And he was managed by Teddy Long, which honestly, that's probably one of the most forgettable runs and probably one of the most forgettable managing runs that probably Teddy was ever a part of. Because I think that was the last guy he managed before becoming SmackDown general manager.
Which is a much better role for him, unless you're talking about like really, even like NWA stuff. But like for WWE, Teddy Long is not a manager. Sorry, I don't even really like him as a referee as much. I think, in his older age, just let him be the GM and put him on payroll. That's the way I look at it.
But you know what? I love the aspect of this match where it's just like Brock dominates throughout the whole duration of this match. He F5s Jeff Hardy, and then you just have Paul who's just like begging, like, tag me in, which causes so much fucking heat. And, you know, you had the Hardys who were mainly on their signature offense. You know, you have Jeff Hardy hitting all the big moves, Whisper in
Yep.
the Winds, jaw breakers. And then, you know, you just get decimated by this newcomer who's only been in the company or the main roster for not even 2 months yet. It's only been like a month and a half, and you already have this guy taking out top talent, and then you go over drawing heat for Heyman making the tag and pinning Jeff Hardy himself.
Yeah, you think is taking out top talent now? Wait till we get to August. Holy shit!
Oh boy,
And
it's
I like Brock, so that's not me knocking him, but he got a rocket up his ass and got lit all the way, man.
I tell you what, those are fireworks that you can't find legally. But anyway, we go on to our next segment. You know, this segment, I laughed so hard at the end. I was so like, okay, it was a Jerry Lawler comment. I'm not sure if you picked it up, but we had a segment where Booker T, now in an NWO T-shirt, is interviewed by I think his name was like Mark Lloyd or something like that. He was like one of those unknown announcers, and basically he was handpicked by Ric Flair to be the newest member of the NWO because one, they weren't going anywhere, and two, you just got rid of one of the key members because of
Yeah,
his drunken circumstances, which was probably like 2 weeks prior to this event. So that went nowhere. All went nowhere, and then Booker T just hits on some random chick in the back talking about, "Hey, you want an autograph or something, baby? Like,
like
what's going on with
how
the
did
fine?"
how did she even get in there? Like, who is this? Was
That's
like,
what I'm
is this
saying.
someone's cousin? Like, how did she get in there?
Well, I'll tell you what, Charmel probably wasn't pleased with this, but then all of a sudden, you know, you hear her whispering in his ear and everything, gives him the hotel key, like, "Oh, you want like an autograph?" Like, "Oh, I want one somewhere else," and it's like, what? Like, what does that even mean? Like,
He's so out of character. He's so giddy and just fucking like a
you know
child jumping up
what?
and down.
And not even giddy, but he doesn't even look like an NWO member. It's like, up, gotta work for Vince, go out with the NWO later, as he has like these fucking formal dress pants on, tucked in with the NWO t-shirt. I'm like, dude, what person besides probably IRS would fucking dress like
Well, this segment definitely continues.
that? And not even that, but like when they were showcasing the whole display for the hair versus hair match coming on later in the night, you have Jerry Lawler making a stupid comment talking about, "Oh, Booker T has a Magic Johnson." What the fuck?
I'm
How the
surprised.
fuck does that make sense?
I'm surprised he didn't start making comments about fucking shaved. If you know what I mean, because
Yeah,
they let him right open for that. So why the fuck not? Be like,
I'm
oh,
like,
I bet Booker T's gonna be shaving tonight. Oh,
you know, I understand, you know, Magic Johnson, obviously it's a reference to your lower region for men, but it's like, you really think about it, it's all like, boy, you would think the guy had like fucking AIDS or something like that. Like, are we pulling like an NBA joke here? A Magic Johnson, like, I just thought it was like, I tried not, like, it was so corny, I laughed. I was like, why would they, but whatever.
we're
Um,
on
the next
we're on a pay per view streak of Jerry Lawler comments.
Yeah,
it got rough.
and he had just came back too by like the beginning of this year. I think end of
Yeah.
the 2001. But oh boy, you know, I tell you, shit got old real quick. But
I love him.
we
Can't
we
help it.
go on. I guess you could say we could go on to our second handicap match of the evening because I don't really count that first match as a tag team match at all. That was practically a handicap match in itself. But going on to the second handicap match, I would say, we have the newest member, another new member of the NWO, The Big Show, with Ric Flair, which this makes no sense whatsoever either, as you had Ric Flair, who wanted no business with the NWO the beginning of the year, as it was Vince McMahon's lethal dose of poison and killing his creation. But then you got Ric Flair talking about, oh, I'm going to draft the NWO as my second pick, which also makes no fucking sense because you draft them as a fucking group, but then you draft like guys like Bubba and Devon separate. You manage to get the Hardy Boys, Woody fucking Woo, and then you got Billy and Chuck and all these other tag teams at this time where it's like, okay, you're not drafting them as a fucking group, but you're fucking drafting the NWO as like this big incarnation. You know, fuck logic, right? But you know what? If I'm right, this was the last pay-per-view match for Steve Austin before 2003.
Yes.
It had to be.
Yes.
Because I think he came back at No Way Out and he did some fucking stupid match with fucking Eric Bischoff before hyping up his last match, or should I say the third match he had with The Rock at Mania 19.
Well, King of the Ring is next, and obviously we know what happened going into that. So,
right. Obviously he was supposed to face Lesnar in a qualifying match, and with no build up, you know, no storytelling. Stone Cold's like, you really think I want to do a fucking match like that? Nah, dude, I'm burnt up. I'm going home. You know.
And I'm glad he did, because watching Stone Cold, you know, in 2002, it's not pathetic because it's not really his fault, but it's sad. Like, just let him go at this point, you know? Like, either book him correctly or let him go.
Right. And you know what? One thing I did not like about this version of the NWO, I mean, it's good in a way, but back when you had the WCW version of NWO, didn't you notice that NWO always seemed to cost a fucking match? Always interfered in a match. And then you have Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
And then you have Tony Schiavone at the end of the show, like, we're out of time. We're out of time. We got to go. And NWO melee on all these WCW guys. But I wish this would have been the case, because don't get me wrong, this wasn't a bad match. But you have somebody like X-Pac trying to interfere in this match. He gets stunned, and he stuns Flair for the win, in which Austin wins. And you know what? I wish this match was sawed by at least 5 minutes, maybe 7 at close, because this match was 15 and a half minutes.
Yeah, this was, what, the second longest match on the show?
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because unless Angle and Edge went a little longer. I don't think so, though.
But, you know, this was a boring match, as none of these guys seemed to be really motivated. And 15 minutes was just too long, and I think that's what really hurt this bout, and obviously hurt the end of Steve Austin's career, because it's like Steve Austin is just like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, you know, he's burnt up. He's not cooperating with creative teams and what he wants to do next. And, you know, I think it was really around that time, as I mentioned in the last video, where, you know, the class of 2002 was really starting to get rearranged because all these guys were leaving. You know, you had the releases of Scott Hall and Mr. Perfect due to that incident. You had DDP, who was injured back in April when he was on the SmackDown match against Hardcore Holly after taking a superplex from the top. And we wouldn't see DDP in almost 2 years until he came out of retirement in 2004 for TNA. And then you got guys like Austin, and not only Austin, but you also have guys like The Rock, he wasn't even full-time anymore. This was practically like his part-time run, as he was, you know, going back and forth between wrestling and becoming Hollywood. And, you know, we want to see Rock these next couple of months. I mean, the next pay-per-view I believe he attended was King of the Ring, which will be the next pay-per-view that we'll be going over. But, you know, after SummerSlam, it was bye bye Rock. It was practically the same for us. And after this pay per view, we want to see two of the most electrifying guys who basically changed the landscape of the '90s into the 2000s, bringing down Vince's competition. Obviously they benefited off that. And the only guys you had to rely on during this time were Undertaker, Triple H, and Hulk Hogan. But this is why they were building new stars by this time. Obviously, you had Brock Lesnar, you had Deacon Batista. I mean, he wasn't a top guy yet, but
Yeah.
they saw something. They brought in the prototype, and then they had just brought in a 22-year-old Randy Orton. So obviously WWE was shaping up to bring in some fresh meat.
Yeah. I mean, this match was just so boring. Like, this easily could have been 8 minutes and done the same thing that it did in 15, except be less boring. You easily could have thrown more time for a segment. You could have. I mean, the main event was only 11 minutes. Realistically, that should have been longer than this crap. But I also think the Cell match should have closed the show. But,
yeah,
I digress. We'll get to that. Yeah, this was just worthless. Like, Stone Cold was clearly, like, clocking out. I'm not a Big Show fan. I don't know. I don't. Obviously, they just threw him in the NWO because Vince is like, oh, he used to be in the NWO. Let's throw him in there.
right.
So it's just like, there's continuity there, but did it really make all that much sense? And of course, you have Ric Flair here, who's just in this confusing little heel run with Vince. So it's just, this was stupid. Fuck this match.
Yeah. And going on to the next match here, which was actually tied up with the last match when it comes to time. This was almost 15 minutes and 30 seconds. I would probably say the most anticipating match because you didn't know whose head was going to be shaved. That's right. I'm talking about Edge versus Kurt Angle in the hair versus hair match. I like this match. I like the way this went. I like that little spot that they did was kind of reminiscing to like Andre the Giant, where you had Angle tied up in the ropes, kind of an Andre the Giant moment.
Yeah. Andre loved doing that. Yep.
And you had Kurt Angle belly to belly suplexing Edge onto the outside, which was like yikes. But Edge ends up getting the win here and shaving Kurt Angle's head, which is now infamous for being bald, I guess you would say. So,
I mean, I think it's a little predictable because obviously Kurt Angle's hairline wasn't doing too well at this time. So that's always a way, because you can't, when you're in the WWE, when you're under their contract, you can't just change your appearance. You always have to have a reason, So this is one of those ways. I'm sure Kurt Angle was like, oh, I want to shave my head. And Vince is like, all right, we'll figure it out. And this is them figuring that out. I think it's very predictable because Edge is up and coming. He has this long flowing blonde hair. He wasn't getting his fucking head shaved. Come on. So, it was... And I actually really liked how this continued on past the match, because obviously Angle ran away, and then randomly later during the match, you have Jerry Lawler calling for Floyd the Barber, if you caught that. But he's like, oh, it's Floyd the Barber, get him. And I like how the Barber just kind of stood there.
Right.
Just kind of like handed Edge stuff. Like, he didn't even fucking shave his head. But
nonchalant.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll get to that. But this I think this is the biggest angle, no pun intended, on the show. This is what people remember this show for the most, and it's a great match. I prefer their Backlash match personally.
Right.
But this is a good match, a good, nice little angle, like I said, and this was far from the end. Of course, you would have Kurt Angle wear the horrible wig with the with the wrestling strap. But yeah, I love Kurt Angle for this kind of stuff. He knows how to be the best damn wrestler around, and be comedic. At the very few times I like comedic wrestling, Kurt Angle is one of them for sure.
Right. And you know what? I kind of find this match a little predictable too. I mean, obviously the Backlash match was better, but obviously this match had a lot more on the line as it comes to product, I guess you would say. And, Kurt Angle was furious during this match. He's pulling down his straps. He's pissed. He's like, I'm a wrestling machine. Tries to lock in the ankle lock. And then Edge just gets him with a small package like, haha, gotcha, sucker. And Kurt Angle gets his head shaved, in which that's one thing. I know, I'm not sure if you noticed it or was watching TNA around the time, but like around like 2012, 2013, Angle was trying to grow it back with the beard and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, dude. Like,
yeah. I like the beard. I just don't like the fucking whatever he had going on. Like, I guess it was meant to be more grungy and more edgy. Also, no pun intended. There's a lot of puns going on here tonight, but it's a punny video. But anyway, yeah, it was time to shave it. It was getting rough.
right.
You got to join the Hulk Hogan Hair Club.
Yeah, well, I don't. I mean, I think it suited Angle. I mean, Hogan, on the other hand, he could just cover the top with a bandana and just go, "Phew, nothing to see here." But anyway, after the whole incident with Edge and Kurt Angle, we go right back to Booker T, which the camera cuts right across from this fucking hotel.
Oh my God.
And you got Booker T is in bed with this chick that he spoke to earlier, and she asks him to turn out the lights. And just when you think the shenanigans are coming, all of a sudden you hear gold dust. It's like, oh no.
This was the third handicap match of the night.
Oh God. Oh shit.
And I love how at the very end Goldust is like, oh, I bought this for nothing. It's this fucking pink or purple blouse. I cannot describe to you how much I love Goldust. This was phenomenal. I don't care how cheesy it is. I don't care if I get shit for this. This was amazing.
You know what? It's funny too because you got Goldust trying to beg, Booker T to come back to their team, and then you got Booker T escaping with his ass hanging out. Like, oh my gosh!
Yeah,
like, was this the plan all? Like, was this the plan all along? Is this like Goldust's way to really end Booker T?
Yeah, this was just phenomenal.
This handicap match was going to be unsanctioned, but obviously that didn't go as planned.
Yeah, it only lasted like 30 seconds.
Oh, God.
Talk about blue balls or gold balls, I guess you could put it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, gold balls, blue balls. I mean, well, no. I mean, Blue Meanie wasn't there, or was he? But you never know. Anyway,
if he could see
we
his
have.
balls.
Yeah,
I hope we don't have him on in the future. I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh God, that'd be something. But anyway, the next match, definitely not the best Hell in a Cell match, but it's up there. It's enjoyable, and that is the Hell in a Cell match between Chris Jericho, Triple H, and obviously their rivalry still isn't over. Obviously, they fought each other in the main event of WrestleMania 18. Obviously, Jericho tried to get some involvement in costing Triple H the Undisputed Championship, which kind of prevailed because Hulk Hogan ended up becoming champion, and Triple H is just like, oh, fuck. Like, I got to deal with you again. But, yeah.
I'll tell you what. Out of every Hell in a Cell match we had up to this point, I think this one feels the least warranted.
Right.
Like, when you look at this card, you're like, oh, you have Hogan Taker, and then you have just the Hell in a Cell match as the third match down. It's just kind of odd. It felt like a nothing Hell in a Cell match. I enjoyed it for the action. I think the whole Tim White thing was a little overdone.
Yeah.
And is this what led to suicidal Tim White?
I think this led to the suicidal Tim White segments, but
Which
obviously
is
this
the
is what
greatest.
costed his career as a senior official.
Wow, I think it was worth it because those suicidal Tim White. I have a really dark sense of humor. So, if you're browsing WWE.com at 2 in the morning and with Josh Matthews and Tim White, those were so goddamn stupid. It's just like you can tell Tim White's like, wow, I can't be a referee anymore, so I want to do something with the company still. All right, we'll pair you with Josh Matthews, and then we'll see what
Right.
happens. And he's over here like blowing his head off. He's fucking jumping in front of a bus. Like, it's disrespectful to Tim White, but part of me is like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what exactly happened? I know he took a hard bump.
Yeah, I think it was like one of those things where he just went right into like one of the cage walls, and
Yeah,
he looked like he took like a bad elbow bump or something, which
yeah.
I'm
He
pretty
went
sure
down.
that's.
He went down hard.
And something that I don't get about this match is how, the brawl goes to the top of the cage. You have Jericho applying the walls. Not only that, but you have senior official Mike Chioda climbing up the cage and, trying to call the match on top. But, isn't this match, couldn't take anywhere but like the ring, like any like
Yeah,
final. So,
yeah.
which I kind of find weird. So you're gonna call it on top of the cage, even though you can't necessarily win when you're outside the cage.
I think it's one of those things where Vince or whoever, they wanted the finish to be on top of the cage. And then they're like, well, you can't really do that. He's like, well, I'm Vince goddamn McMahon. I'll do whatever I want. So
Yeah.
I think it's stupid. This is not a false count anywhere match. The point of a Hell in a Cell match is that you can't go anywhere. You're stuck in this cage with your rival. Okay, so let's let him out. Let him brawl around the ring a little bit. Throw him off the cell. Cool. But you always should have to get back in the ring. I
Yeah.
don't care. Fuck you. Whoever decided to have them end this on top of the fucking cell, fuck you. Like, this pissed me off when I saw this back in like 2000. I don't know when the fuck I first saw it. I was just like, that's not possible. But all right.
And I kind of found this like as a weak finish too, as you get Triple H doing some heel tactics, hitting a
Yeah.
low blow, goes for the pedigree, but then Jericho hits a back body drop. Triple H gets up first, and then hits him with a 2x4, which I don't know.
Which is
It was good, but it was not great. I mean, it was a glorified spot fest, I guess you would say, as they tried to recreate some classic Hell in a Cell spots. But I just don't think something didn't click, and I'm not sure if it
no.
was because this feud was bland and it was just fading out from the Like, honestly, their feud should have just ended at WrestleMania 18. As soon as Triple H won the belt, it should have just went right there into the Triple H Hogan feud.
Well, I just don't think they have really that much chemistry, first of all.
Right.
So it just felt awkward. You have like 10,000 ref bumps. Even the refs bleeding. Like, it did feel awkward. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I would actually consider this like a guilty pleasure because I enjoyed it for the camaraderie. But at the end of the day, this match doesn't make sense. The finish doesn't make sense. And you can tell that they were just trying to make this Triple H and Mick Foley on top of the cell with the barbed wire 2x4. I was
Yep.
waiting for him to just light it on fire. And we even had a back body drop. So, I mean, this was just, it's kind of just a ripoff. It's like the Walmart brand version of the Hell in a Cell match, where like they're doing all the stuff correctly. It's just not good.
Yeah.
That's kind of
No,
the best way to put it.
but I mean, it was still brutal and entertaining, but still disappointing. Just to sum it all up.
Yep.
But
yeah. It's just I don't know. It's an awkward match, and I feel like it did go too long. It was like 24 minutes.
Oh yeah, yep. It was 24 and a half minutes. A little bit long, but gotta save the best stuff for last, right?
I did like the DDT through the announce table. It's not often you see that.
No, not at all. We go on to the next segment here. We have Edge still trying to find Kurt Angle. He's back. Yeah. Just like, oh, where is he? And Angle's trying to escape. And then we go on to this next promo, which was kind of like a sex promo type of deal. I'm not sure if you'd ask me. And then they're playing Sexual Chocolate theme in the background. I'm not sure if you caught that. I'm just like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
So basically the message is to pull out. Get the F out. You got to pull out.
Yeah. Get the F out, pull the F out.
This is a condoms commercial. This is plan B. Like, this is just abstinence, kids. Pull the fuck out. Pull the F out.
I think it would have made a lot more sense before cutting to the Booker T segment in the hotel.
They should have timed that just completely. Like, have this air before that, and then you have Booker T in bed. Like, come on, guys. Come on. Kevin Dunn, come on. Bucky Beaver.
Or at least it would have been like a good way of Booker T advertising the condoms, like, let's go, baby, and then Goldust comes out of nowhere, like,
pulls out a fucking Magnum, ooh, and he rips it.
Yeah. But you know what? It's kind of sad that Triple H, or no, not Triple H, but Booker T would probably go from like condoms to Hungry Man commercials.
Yeah. Couldn't snap into the Slim Jim, unfortunately.
Nope, not at all. But we go on to our next match. It is a WWE Tag Team Championship match. Pretty odd one. I still don't understand why they fucking did it.
Oh yeah, I know. Billy and I know why they did it. It's you have the Hell in a Cell match, and people have to go take a shit and piss and get pizza and go get all their fucking hot dogs from the concessions. This was just a simple way to cool you down for the main event.
Right. Well, I think between that and the opponents for this match, which would end up being Rikishi and Billy and Chuck's manager, Rico, which is kind of like, okay.
Whatever.
So basically, Mr. McMahon, prior to this pay-per-view, Mr. McMahon handpicks Rikishi's partner and chooses Billy and Chuck's manager. So this is generally another handicap match, sort of say.
Number 4.
Number 4, well, third official.
No, it's 4.
Yeah, well,
it's 4. So, there was penetration.
So generally, this was a 3-on-1 handicap match, and this is the kind of thing you would do on free TV. Rikishi and Billy start off, and then Rikishi's dominating throughout this. Chuck runs in, and they hit a double flapjack after Rikishi misses a big corner splash, I guess you would say. Rikishi actually goes to tag Rico, who is supposedly arguing with a fan, which I guess he was. I'm not sure. Maybe Edge's mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, why did your son have to shave off Kurt Angle's head? Anything could have been going on. But, Rikishi starts to fall victim to Billy and Chuck working a tag formula, but then he hits a belly-to-belly for the one. Eventually, even though Rico tries to go against him, Rikishi squishes Chuck to win the belts. And Rico's just like, oh, shit. Like, we got new tag team champions with Rico and Rikishi. And this was almost a 4-minute match. I'm just going to sum it up here. Awful. I didn't like this match. Obviously, it's something that you said. This was your bathroom break match. This was your match to say, hey, grab all your snacks. Main event's coming up. But this match was crap, and the booking decision was probably worse. And Rikishi wasn't as over as he was in 2000 when he was a part of Too Cool, Scotty, Grandmaster Sexy, and then obviously he would turn heel by the end of the year, as he was appointed as the man who ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin at the 1999 Survivor Series, changing a possible dream match, sort of say, because we would never get Triple H, Rock, and Austin in the same ring.
Do you think Rico would have willingly took the stink face and enjoyed it?
Well, I think he's more concerned about his hair rather than his face. I mean,
you really want to push the Billy and Chuck gimmick. I'll just end it at that. This is a PG program.
Right. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, we had Booker T in the hotel before, so I'm not too PG just yet.
All right, fine. TVMA, but we're not X-rated yet. We'll get there.
You still got the F trying to get out, but they haven't put the pin pad or the lock keys yet. WWF's just trying to knock, like, hello, let me back in. There's been a mistake.
Pull the F out. Abort mission.
Oh, God. But, yeah, I think this was pointless having Rico go against Billy and Chuck. And, I mean, especially for a new, fresh tag team. I mean, Billy and Chuck were already a tag team by the end of 2001, but after WrestleMania, obviously they were teamed up with Rico, who was brought up from the OVW promotion. And, I mean, it was kind of pointless because you're only a little over a month with this new manager, and already you're just, like, calling it like, oh, this ain't going to work.
Yeah, but, I really like the three of them together too. So it's just like you don't fix what's not broken.
Right. If you're not Matt Hardy, don't fix it. We go on to the next segment here. We had Edge finally catching up with Angle, only to be nailed with a trash can lid. Angle drags Edge out and basically threatens to cut his hair, but Edge counters and puts him in a sleeper hold. With Angle taking a nap, Edge shaves his head, and basically the rest is history. And Kurt's hair looks, I don't know, it was kind of dumb anyway, as he was balding. And then you got Edge encouraging the fans to chant, "You're bald." You're bald. And instead of "You suck," which is pretty funny. And
they already invented the "You suck," so now he just added to it with "You're bald."
Which, I mean, obviously that wouldn't last long. I mean, that would probably go on for like a month or so. And then obviously when Angle finally decided to get rid of that, that 80s sitcom fucking wig with the wrestling gear, headgear piece on.
Yeah, you got the Charles in charge.
With, the same day he threw it down was actually the same day we would see the debut of John Cena. So,
2 very historic moments.
Yeah. Kurt Angle embracing his baldness and John Cena putting a whipping. So not a bad way. And then basically we go on to the main event. Turning back the clocks here to 1991, as we have the WWE Undisputed Championship with Hollywood, quote that, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I think he was far from Hollywood at this fucking point. Versus the Undertaker. And, this match was, basically based off of the tensions rising at Backlash when Hulk Hogan did win the WWE Undisputed Championship. And one of the funny segments that I liked before getting into this pay-per-view was when Undertaker basically attached Hogan by the legs. He had him dangling by the legs, and he was just riding his bike and just hitting. Hogan was hitting every corner. You know what? And this match was only 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes, 11 minutes. And Mr. McMahon comes out as Undertaker tries to get the chair from ringside, possibly playing another 1991 role as Ric Flair would get the chair out, Tombstone, Hulk Hogan on top of the chair, which is something that they should have probably did, is have Ric Flair come out and recreate the whole 1991 skit right there. Hogan big boots the chair into his face while Vince distracts the referee. Hogan brings him in a hard way and uses a very 1980s punch with the leg drop on him. Undertaker hits him back in the head with the chair, which the referee somehow doesn't hear. Like, ref, how do you not hear the chair shot? Like, I don't understand. And then, and then he hits a somewhat decent choke slam, I guess you would say. I mean, you could barely get Hogan off the ground.
No, it ain't his fault.
No, but Undertaker gets the win, takes the strap off the strap off of Hogan, and we have a new undisputed championship with Hogan's reign only lasting about a month, not even, probably a little less than a month, probably.
I took a shit earlier that was prettier than this match. You know, okay. Obviously, they put the title on Hogan. We've been over this, but they put the title on him because of the reaction he got at WrestleMania and the night after on Raw. So, there you go. Money. And then, here's what doesn't make sense to me. I'm overthinking this. I know this. But you had Hogan, who held the title for years at a time. He, dominated the main event scene. He is the golden era of WWF. So it's just like, and then he loses the title in a month. It just doesn't make sense. Don't put the title on him if you're not going to run with it. And that's me saying don't put the title on him at all, because obviously he can't run with it. He can barely limp with it, let alone run with the fucking thing. But, it's just stupid. It doesn't make sense. And how many times before this did somebody kick out of the leg drop? That's my question to you.
I would say multiple. I mean, even you had Rock kicking out, obviously. Even prior to Hogan coming back to the company, towards the end of WCW, you had Hogan going in feuds. He had a feud with Billy Kidman. That really says a lot. And he actually beat Hulk Hogan, which is something off of Billy Kidman's bucket list of saying, "Hey, I beat Hulk Hogan." But prior to people kicking out of a leg drop, I mean, Ultimate Warrior, maybe. Ultimate Warrior, maybe Goldberg. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who come to mind, but other than that, not too many, I would say.
Which is how a finisher should be. So
Right.
I think that was the only cool part of the match, was the way JR sold Taker kicking out of the leg drop.
Right.
Because that is a special moment, because that leg drop, as worthless as it is, that was Hogan's finish that he used. And it's synonymous. You don't kick out. Once you get the leg drop, you're done. So
Right.
I think that was the only popping moment of the match. The rest of it was just taking a shit on a plate and putting it in the microwave, and then just letting it simmer.
And you know what? And that was the thing with Hogan too. Hogan was synonymous for that signature because that was the same move that made him win the WWE Championship at Madison Square Garden in 1984 when he beat the Iron Sheik. That's what made Hulk Hogan famous. I mean, not saying that he didn't make history when he won the AWA title against Nick Bockwinkel, but at the same time, this is somebody else's creation that was already made from a different organization that was brought over due to, once again, money. And Vince was like, "All right, pal, we're going to roll with you." And, Hogan technically, was the top guy for the past, 8 years, 7 years at that point, from 84 to 93. Yeah, about 9 years or so. And then this was just, I guess you would say this was probably creatives or Vince's markout moment. Oh my gosh, Hogan's back. Hogan's getting this huge pop. Let's put the belt on him. And then obviously realized that this wasn't even going to go nowhere and pretty much lead to disaster. Vince was like, oh shit, Bruce, I fucked up, pal. I gotta put the belt on, you know. And
Well, as Ole Anderson would say, Hogan's the shits. And did you notice something wrong with the undisputed title? I don't know if you noticed this small little detail or not.
That it still had the F on it, or
Yep.
well, all the belts were still like that. The Intercontinental was still like that. The women's, the tag team, all the belts were still like that. I mean, I think that was just one thing that WWE couldn't pull off in time. Just short notice. And I think they just didn't want to go through the redesigns of the belts, as the Undisputed Championship was just a newly designed belt back in April, and now it's like, oh shit, now we got to redesign it again.
You could have chiseled it off.
Right. I mean, that's practically what they did with the SmackDown logo. They didn't have the WWF logo on top of the SmackDown fist for months.
Yeah.
Until they basically just chopped it off and was like, all right, here we go, WWE logo.
We got Chainsaw Charlie up in there. Just get that fucking thing off.
Right. Yeah. Where the fuck's Terry Funk when you need him? Good gesture on his part. But let's go over, Undertaker winning this. Obviously, if you were a fan back in 1991, you probably didn't like the finish with Undertaker becoming WWF champion. I'm sure there was a lot of fans 11 years later who were like, Undertaker beat Hogan again for the belt? No, cannot happen again. This is like you're reliving something that you don't want to relive. Kind of like bed bugs in a way. This is like a bad case of bed bugs that came back 11 years. And this was a crap match, sort of say. This is between two guys who weren't lighting the world on fire at the time, when you still had the return of Triple H, who was practically the top guy, and you still had The Rock here and there, and then you had Stone Cold, who didn't give a fuck, but who was like slowly floating inside like the mid-Carter / main event spots. But I think Undertaker's reign as WWE champion wasn't bad. I mean, it led to a pretty good ladder match with Jeff Hardy at on Monday Night Raw, which was pretty fucking good. You had the Monday Night Raw match between Rob Van Dam, in which RVD was WWE champion, while Undertaker's foot was on the rope. And then you got Ric Flair coming out again like, oh, his foot was on the rope. He didn't win. In which that was probably like one of RVD's breakout moments on Raw, was him holding the title but not officially winning it. So that was a bummer. And then Undertaker would end up holding the belt till Vengeance, when Rock decided, hey, I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to drop it to the big guy. So.
Yeah, I really think Taker, unfortunately, was just kind of a placeholder champion.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really know who to throw it on. I don't know if Brock was always the plan at SummerSlam, but let's say he was. Right. Let's say they wanted The Rock. Oh, he's filming a movie, Hollywood, whatever. But so he can't come back till Vengeance, so we'll throw it on Hogan till then. And that didn't work out. So they panicked, and they're like, all right, it has to go on Taker. Taker's trustworthy. He'll hold the belt with dignity. He'll defend it with dignity. And when it's time to drop it, he'll do the honors without protest. So Taker is your perfect placeholder champion until The Rock decides to come in whenever he feels like it, and get the belt.
And you know what? I don't think it was that either, but I think it was more around the lines of maybe not, Undertaker not feeling comfortable with working with somebody new yet. Maybe he didn't think, hey, maybe this guy's not it yet. Maybe he needed a little bit more progress, see what he was all about. And then obviously, as Brock got that big win at SummerSlam and won the WWE Championship, I think that's when they started to do the series of matches that they had at Unforgiven, No Mercy, and so forth.
Which is actually odd to see another Hell in a Cell match. Usually you don't get twice a year, but they did skip 2003 to kind of make up for that. So, yeah, like it was September, October, we'd see the Hell in a Cell again, and a much better Hell in a Cell match. Probably my personal favorite Hell in a Cell match. So,
yeah. And you know what? This was weird too because we ended up seeing like 3 cell-structured matches in 1 year, including the first ever Elimination Chamber match. And then Bad Blood, we would get another Hell in a Cell match with Triple H and Nash, and then another Elimination Chamber match at SummerSlam. So a lot of carnage inside the cage. Thank God Tim White wasn't a part of it, but God forbid that poor guy.
Oh no, wait, 2001 was when they skipped Hell in a Cell, not 2003. My bad.
Yeah. I think, yep, okay. I'm thinking of the 3 Stages of Hell match that Stone Cold and Triple H had at No Way Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But going over this pay-per-view, it was an okay show. It was an enjoyable show, but it definitely wasn't the best show. Not a good way to start off the WWE era. The only thing that you should probably go out of your way to catch is probably the Edge versus Kurt Angle match, because that was probably like the most entertaining match. Obviously, that led to Edge getting the pinfall. You had to go through 3 different segments before Edge was able to catch up with Kurt Angle. You put him in a chokehold, and then you finally shave his head off with the chanting "You're bald." Another fun segment that I enjoyed was I did enjoy the whole Booker T segment with him going through the hotel with this chick and then having Goldust in bed. So that was
fun fact. Do you know what the T in Booker T stands for?
Hold on. I've heard of this. T Booker oh boy, hold on. I've heard of this. T No.
Threesome.
Oh shit.
No, it was a complete joke. It doesn't mean threesome.
Oh fuck. Come on.
You ruined my joke.
Oh, come on. I don't get that would have been oh damn it.
Damn you. Now we're gonna have to we'll just edit it. We'll just pretend like it never happened. And we'll just you can look up the real answer and then we'll just reshoot it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up though, because I never understood your last initial.
Maybe Thug. I don't know.
Booker Thug.
Maybe I don't know. Fucking know.
Booker Tits. I don't know. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, it's Booker Tits. That's what it is. Yeah.
Booker Tits. But obviously the only match to look forward to was the Edge and Kurt Angle match. Hogan and Taker put on probably one of the worst main events in recent memory, and even the Hell in a Cell match. Like, I'm not even going to lie. I don't even think the Hell in a Cell match was a must-see. It was a good match, but obviously it was still trying to create a lot of key moments, like recreate some cell spots. And I think the only person who practically got over in that match was probably Tim White.
Which put him in a deep, dark depression.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea.
Those videos are on YouTube, so if you guys don't know what we're talking about, check those out. I don't think the first video is on there, which is probably my favorite video, but it's just like I understand why they take them down. But that's probably something I'm probably going to have to look up on like Daily Motion or something. The Intercontinental Championship match was solid, but nothing passes the 2 stars, I would say. And, obviously we would go on into the summer of 2002 being a much better rest of the year, I guess you would say, going forward as we would continue this WWE era. And even before the pay-per-view, we had the European Championship match between D'Lo Brown and William Regal, which was on Sunday Night Heat, which is included on the 2002 Judgment Day DVD. Um, Nothing you could really say about a Sunday Night Heat match other than, oh, it was probably better than the rest of the card. Not necessarily.
You also have Bite This with Triple H.
Yes. You had 3 bonus interviews, and you had to Bite This with Triple H. And once I said the Sunday Night Heat match with D'Lo Brown and William Regal for the European Championship. So, given this pay-per-view a grade, and we're not doing the whole Dave Meltzer stars here. We've always stuck with our letterings.
Yep.
I'll probably have to give this an average C minus. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can't sit there and say that it was a C plus and say, oh, that was one hell of a show. But you booked one of the worst main events against probably, 2 guys who shouldn't have been in this main event. I mean, you had Hogan hold the belt for less than a month because somebody was marking out backstage and was like, let's put the belt on Hogan. He's back. That was a worse move. You had a solid opener. And then you had the holy shit moment in the Hell in a Cell match where everybody thought, oh shit, Tim White's going to fucking die or something after that spot.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That's the wood chipper. We'll get there.
I mean, he got revived a couple of times, but let's just say he was a lucky man. But yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't the best. You got heat on Heyman, especially after trying to make Brock as dominant as possible, only for Heyman to be like, "Let me get the tag me in," and pin Jeff Hardy, which you should have just had fucking Heyman just sit on the outside. I mean, this whole pay-per-view was practically revolved around handicap matches. You had 4, 1 that didn't take place inside the ring, and 3, which technically involved Rico being on the opponent's corner. The also exciting Steve Austin versus Flair and Big Show match. And then obviously the Hardys and Lesnar and Heyman, which Heyman wasn't even on the offense. Heyman was just sitting there. But, yeah, I mean, I would definitely give this a C minus. And I think the whole Angle and Edge match was practically the moneymaker for this match because everybody wanted to see either Angle or Edge go bald. And the Hell in a Cell match between Triple H and Jericho was pretty much bland because their rivalry should have just ended the night after WrestleMania, where Stephanie McMahon was like, I challenge both of you for the World Wrestling Federation Championship, and if I lose, then I leave the WWF forever. In which we would see her in like another fucking month or 2 at the SmackDown DM, which really made sense. But C minus on my part.
All right. I was gonna go with C. If there was a C, if there was something between a C minus and a C, I think that's what I would give it. But
so practically like a C and a half.
Yeah, I'll give it a C and a half. Technically, it'd be a C and a third, but so yeah, I'll give it a C and a third. There's only a few things worth watching. Edge and Angle, they're always worth watching. Their Backlash match was a near masterpiece. I love that match, and their rivalry would continue, and this was a good little, continuance in that rivalry. The Hell in a Cell match is all right. It's a guilty pleasure of mine just for how ridiculous and spot festy it is. Booker Tits is worth watching. And that's That's about it. So yeah, C and a third, I'll give it.
But I mean, things are looking to shake up in the next pay-per-view as we would go on to King of the Ring, which would actually be the last King of the Ring pay-per-view hosted by WWE until WWE would revive the tournament in 2006. It was definitely an interesting pay-per-view with some aspects not happening. Some matches didn't take place. And we would have the dominant summer of Brock Lesnar as it would commence to having him win the 2002 King of the Ring tournament. But anyway, guys, social medias, if you guys want to catch me out, it's Danny Bryant on Facebook. You can catch me on Instagram at @the_BNC187. And of course, you can find me on Twitter and YouTube at DNBeast94. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, especially if you're watching my channel and you're not subscribed. What are you doing? Hit that button.
YouTube, the DVD Freak. Twitter, at the DVD Freak. Instagram, the DVD Period Freak or something like that. The Period DVD Freak. I don't know, because some Dr. Professor asshole decided to take my username. So thank you for that. Now I had to add a period. Thank you. And the Wrestling DVD Room on Facebook. And surprisingly enough, I was not drinking tonight. So this is really how I act, guys.
Surprisingly, and you guys know me, I don't drink at all. Oh well, I mean, I'll drink here and there, but
yeah, I've seen you have the flask once in a while.
Well, once in a while, I'll pull it out, have some nice whiskey. But other than that, somebody has to have somewhat of control of the show. But
it's true.
For the next video, guys, tomorrow you will catch all four of us as we review Clash of the Champions 18. I believe it's Clash of the Champions 18. This was JJ's pick, and it'll be all four of us tomorrow. The Professor, JJ, and then Monday we will be recording a episode of Collector's Corner, as it will be myself, hopefully Rick, the DVD Freak, and our special guest who's going to be making a comeback to our show, Mark Boy 316. So we will be delighted to have him back on the show. And that pretty much wraps up today, guys. This has been the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast. You guys have a good night.